is not only you have this signing day, but you're recruiting your own players too. How important is that to be talking to these guys to make sure they know you want them and so they don't go out in the portal?
Yeah, I think it's huge. But I think one thing as a coach, and Coach Rule's talked about it, and I think they have as a staff, you kind of know what's happening.
Yep.
You know guys are being contacted. A lot of these guys will tell and show you. And sometimes it's for leverage. Sometimes it's because they just want to know and they're not going anywhere. But when you have a senior class with only, whatever it was, Saturday, 19 guys, right, you knew that this class wasn't going to be big. It's in hopes to retain a lot of what they have right now and only to supplement through the portal. So keeping especially your young nucleus, you got a lot of young guys that you like. I think keeping those guys around and encouraged would be huge.
How big is it, how important is it to keep Dylan Raiola?
You know, like, I just think you got to let things continue to play out. I mean, I think we've got a good month of this still, but he's with the team right now, you know, going through rehab, everything, but it's TJ Lateef for the bowl game. But, you know, I don't know if we're done there yet. I'll say that. I think there's a lot that's going to play out with this quarterback room, the future and what direction they ultimately go, because it is hard to pay two quarterbacks a lot of money. And, you know, there'll have to be a decision how this plays out, because Dylan Raiola is one of the highest paid players in college football right now.
Yeah, we moved to those young defensive linemen. How big of an offseason? Well, first you got to keep them. But Keona Davis, we know that. Williams Nwaneri, those guys, even Ben Popple, guys that are very young, developing.
100%. You got to take what you've done well this year and learn from that and say, okay, how can I improve? But also, biggest thing is, where do I need to improve? And I think, obviously, things could change. I don't want to say drastically. I think Coach Rule's still going to implement the 3-3-5 defense with a new coordinator coming in next year, potentially. But understanding what you did well, where can you improve? And Cade Petchock as well. I mean, that was really, really good play as a true freshman. So there's a lot you can hang your hat on. But again, it's just the approach of, you don't have to accomplish it all in one day. Just that 1% each day and getting better. But understand what you've done well, but ultimately, what do you need to improve on the most?
You saw him a lot. What about Tyson Terry? It's a guy that obviously couldn't play this year, coming off that. How important is his size and his athleticism being on that D-line next year?
Yeah, I think number one, it's his toughness, right? His willingness to do what he's told. And he's one of those guys that can do hard things every day. He doesn't have any problems with rigor, and he doesn't need a babysitter. So I think that's what you start in terms of model behavior. Now, do you want a redshirt freshman kind of leading the way? Probably not in this conference, but if anybody's capable of handling rigor in a day-to-day grind, it's TNT.
Now, let's talk bowl game. Looking like one of the two Vegases, either Vegas or Nash Vegas, one of those two places.
Yeah, I would say it's Las Vegas. I think internally everything is being prepared. I mean, I think there's even some maybe advanced looking at Utah right now. So Las Vegas picks before Nashville. They're very interested in Nebraska.
Makes sense.
In Utah, this could be Kyle Whittingham's last game. We'll know, I think, this week kind of what his plan is going to be, but that will get a good crowd there too, between the Nebraska fans on the West Coast, and then obviously Utah can drive there. So you will have for that bowl game, they've generally only drawn 30,000 people. You could have over 50,000, I would think, for a game with Nebraska and Utah there.
Maybe not the most appealing to be New Year's Eve on Vegas, but it is a place that I'm sure Nebraska fans would want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's still New Year's Eve in Vegas.
It is New Year's Eve in Vegas.
I'm not complaining.
You know,
no DB's not either.
There's a lot of...
Oh, no.
Actually, I kind of am.
I'm 56 years old. I'm going to bed.
Old.
A week at the Mandalay Bay for you, DB?
There's a lot of...
Been there, done that.
I've had my
bachelor party was there.
I
I was just there for Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah.
I'm over Vegas.
There's a lot of action you can find yourself getting into. I think Nebraska fans are going to travel well
no matter
to
what.
Nashville or to Las Vegas. It's like, hey, do you want to get in trouble at Broadway, or do you get yourself in trouble at the craps table or the blackjack table? So pick your poison.
Yeah. Let's take a look around the Big Ten. 6 o'clock Saturday night. Fox, Big Ten championship game, putting 1 versus 2, and it absolutely means nothing. That's the great thing about this game. It really means nothing. Based on what's going to happen ahead, where everybody's going to go. Also, UCLA hires Bob Chesney from James Madison to be their new head coach. And this is interesting. Michigan State gets rid of Jonathan Smith after 2 years, and they replace him with Northwestern's head coach that was there forever, Pat Fitzgerald, taking that job. Very interesting one. And, of course, on top of the conference, you can see that Indiana and Ohio State, first time having 1 versus 2 in the Big Ten championship game. Oregon, Michigan, USC, Iowa. You have a bunch of teams sitting at 5-4 on the second page. Nebraska right at the top at 4-5, 7-5 overall. And you see Northwestern one of the two teams that had a tie or winning record that Nebraska beat this year, gone all the way down to Purdue, not winning a game. The conference ended up with 11 bowl-eligible teams this year. Let's take a look at the rankings and brackets. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Oregon 5, USC sitting there at 15, Michigan at 19, and Iowa at 25. Or is that 23? I'm sorry. It's 23. Thank you very much. What do you think about this, Damon? When you look at the way it's set up right now, who are the ones with the best chance to drop out after next week?
I don't know. I think if I'm a little bit nervous if I'm Virginia. I'm certainly nervous if I'm Alabama, and I don't handle business against Georgia. I know everybody thinks Bama's in. I don't know. Georgia's playing well.
Yes.
And, you know, BYU's in a little bit of trouble. Texas Tech, safe as a kid. And we say that the Indiana-Ohio State game is for nothing. Seeding may be critical here before this is all done.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't even know, like, do you want to have a bye? Do you not want to have a bye? What do you want? You know,
now you do.
It's only the second year.
I think now the bye is better.
Is better now.
Because they restructured the bracket.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. We'll see how that works out.
Ohio State's been playing with buys. Those guys are pretty fresh, right? They sat Jeremiah Smith and Tate before the Michigan game. Those guys barely play 4 quarters.
Before we get to the viewer questions, let's see what you thought about the future coaching changes for the Huskers. 82% say we should see some more changes. Only 4% no, and 14% took the maybe easy way out. Let's take some questions from our viewers. Tom wants to know, do you think we'll be running a 4-3 defense going forward?
I don't think so. I think he's pretty. I mean, I've been wrong, but plenty of times before. I think Rule's committed to 3-3-5. I think he likes that.
I think you could say. I think you could see him playing some even front, right? Whether they play with 4 down or not, it just depends on what happens at the linebacker spot. That's probably more the precarious spot than it is the 3-3-5. I think your linebackers have to be able to play a little bit different, playing behind a true 4 down than you do with a 3 front and having 5 DBs fit behind you.
We talked about it, you know, there really weren't 3 linebackers they felt comfortable having on the field at the same time.
The thing.
So they've got to get better there, of course. Ron says, why does no one ever discuss the DC taking resources from the front, D-line, and LB? I don't know what he means by that, but I know you did have very young coaches at those positions. Thoughts on what's happening with Terry Braden going forward?
I think all bets are off. I mean, the new coordinator is going to come in, and he's going to make some decisions. I mean, I think Addison Williams is probably the one guy that, you know, is kind of the made man, the guy that they're really high on, what he brings as a recruiter, what he brings as a coach. I think after that, the new guy is going to have a lot of autonomy to figure this out, whoever that is. And I think we're going to know that new guy before the bowl game. And, you know, this thing will move probably in the next week or two.
Another phone caller, DB, and I wonder about this too. We expected Harburg to have some unique plays in it, be able to see the field more, use his athleticism. Why do you think that didn't end up happening?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I thought the last 2 games in particular would be tight end games. Maybe the play calling and how you wanted to design the offense without Dillon playing quarterback maybe impacted that. But I looked at kind of the athleticism and the evolution of his play, and I wasn't as enamored with when he started. He's too big. I was just getting ready to say, I think he's too big and he's just too muscle-bound.
That's what I thought.
Trying to prepare for the rigor of being an inline blocker, where I think he lost a little bit of his athleticism and explosiveness.
Yeah, I'm sure they talked a lot about that with him, making that transition to being a blocker. This is a funny phone call because this is, why does the O-line not cut block? And we just saw it on the highlight with Cork.
Trust me, there's plenty of cut block, especially going backside. Those guys will definitely, and on those screen passes as well, you see it quite often.
You have a favorite for defensive coordinator? A couple of different people asked that question.
I mean, it's early. I mean, I can tell you Coach Rule's phone is ringing a lot. I mean, I think there's a lot of interest around the country. Power 4, SEC. I mean, there's a lot of people that I think their names are in this, and it's going to play out. I think that we've seen Matt Rule. He doesn't wait. I mean, this thing, I wouldn't be surprised by next week on this show we know who the defensive coordinator. I mean, that's how quick Rule moves.
You know me. You've worked with me for almost 20 years. I'm probably the only guy in Nebraska that honks for Justin Wilcox unnecessarily. So,
genius.
Justin Wilcox is the guy that I like, given my druthers.
You know how many times that man won money line bets for me? I love him.
I mean, we've been talking about him for 15 years.
I love the guy. So, do we believe that Dana should get some consideration in terms of the criticism for the low points per game on offense?
I do, absolutely.
Yeah,
I just think for as accomplished and as good as he is, you have to kind of dial it back, right? This is, can you teach an old dog new tricks? I think there's a few, right? There's just some series, some play calling where I think the ground game and the commitment to it got away from Nebraska, and in particular in the third quarters.
Real quick, Sean, should it be concerned that the class is so small, or is that just a part of roster management?
It's part of roster management and the money. I mean, you can't, they're holding their money for the portal. And you're probably going to see Nebraska add about 10 portal players, and that's going to not be cheap. So at this point, you want a good mix of high school with portal, and that's the plan right now.
Makes sense. Let's go to your burning question.
Yeah, Bernie, question, what will January 2nd bring when the portal opens, with this roster, and then obviously what additions? I think Nebraska's going to look heavy on both the O-line and the defensive line.
Yeah, can you establish an identity? Say it out loud and be committed to it in 2026. What do you want this team to look like with regards to how you want them to play?
Nebraska's got back-to-back bowl preparations.
Yep.
We've had this a long time. Can this team take advantage of these additional practices, get better, and go and fight and win a bowl game?
Yeah. Who plays in the bowl game? Will TJ Latif be completely healthy from his hamstring? Will Emmett Johnson play in the bowl game? Those are a lot of questions we have over the next few weeks.